Well, hello everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I know that I am. I'm enjoying my day off. And I was thinking about something. I was, of course, out in nature, enjoying some time, doing some writing and stuff. And I was really thinking about a question that somebody asked me not that long ago, and it just got brought up on my heart, and I was thinking about it and the conversation that we had, and I felt like maybe there's some other people that are kind of dealing with this particular subject. And I had mentioned to somebody they had asked me, they're like, man, I never I never hear you talk about like a significant other, like a girlfriend or anything else like that. And like, why is that? And I said, well, because I'm single. I don't date. I don't really put myself out there. I have. I'm not saying that I haven't, but ultimately that's not my goal. And they're like, wow. And so what do you do? Like, do you like so you just like spend your life alone? And I thought about that for a second, and I was like, no, I mean, if you really think about it, I'm not alone. And they said, well, what do you mean? I said, a lot of people in this life, they seek other people in order to fulfill a hole inside of them. And I did this for a long time. I was a very hurt individual. I had a lot of pain inside, and having somebody around made that pain, less painful. And ultimately I was using that person, and even though I wasn't directly using that person, I wasn't intentionally trying to use that person. When you get honest with yourself and when you get honest with God, you realize that in fact you were using that person. And we see that a lot in this world, and this is why relationships fail left and right. This is why divorces happen left and right, because it's that loneliness feeling. It's because that hole that was temporarily filled tends to become a hole again. And you see people marry for the wrong reasons. They get this puppy love, and they're all excited about each other, and they make each other happy, and they build a bond, and they build a friendship, and then they're like, okay, well, let's get married because this is, this makes me happy. And then they realize a whole bunch of things about this person, and they realize this person really doesn't make me happy anymore. So I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna try to find somebody that I can get that feeling again. And it just repeats itself over and over and over. So you have a lot of broken people pairing up with broken people. And you see this a lot on the internet. You're like, where are all the good men at? Where are all the good women at? Like, they're there, but it's not my job, and it's not anybody else's job to fix me or for me to fix you. And you see a lot of people say, well, they'll just have to deal with my problems. That's, if they love me, then they'll deal with my problems. And it's like, no, that's why relationship after relationship, and even the current relationship that you have, if you take a deep look into it, you'll see that you're really not happy. And the reason is because people are relying on other people to be that happiness, to be there in your brokenness, and in not going and finding and seeking God to help them heal from their trauma, from their past relationships. They're not healed, and in turn they're just going to spit everything that's built up in here all over. You can only hide it for so long. It'll be dormant. Yes, because you are allowing that happiness to take over, but eventually it's going to come out. Eventually your true personality, on what you've allowed to brew inside of yourself, is going to come out, and then that person becomes a doormat. You start fighting a lot more often. You start seeing all the imperfections and focusing on that. Now, I am not alone. I have discovered that the deeper I get in my relationship with God and the healing that I receive from that, I no longer feel alone. I don't need a physical body there in order to fulfill something because I'm already full. Now, I have chosen a life of solitude. And there's a reason why I've chosen a life of solitude. You know, when God made Adam, Adam didn't ask God, bring me somebody. I am alone in this world and God, just bring me somebody. Adam was living his life, man. He had a relationship with God. He was fulfilled. He wasn't asking for anything. God was like, you know what? Adam, you need to help me. I don't want you to have just you here. I'm going to bring somebody. And so he did. And when you go after God, it's just, I can't explain it, but you're fulfilled. I used to load my life with people and bring them around. My house used to be full of people. It was like I needed everybody to be there, because when I woke up in the morning, I didn't feel so alone. That there was people sleeping on my couch, sleeping on my floor, literally. Like, I am not even lying to you. I opened my home to a lot of people because I felt less alone. But the problems came, and I would go into a relationship, and you know, oh, that person accepts my brokenness, and so that's why I like that person. Guys, it's so much hurt involved in that. And so I keep my circle tight, and I keep my distance. And especially when it comes to relationship, guys, I have women that want to be with me, but the problem is that they are very broken, and they don't want to seek God, and they want to try it themselves, and they see that I am not broken, and they want to feed off of that, and I'm not going to allow that. Because I see God will open your eyes spiritually to the people around you, and who you need to be around and who you don't need to be around. Who you need to be in a relationship with and who you don't. I've been very bold with people and telling them that, listen, I am only here to give you the word. I would love to see you flourish in life, but you're not going to take everything that I have worked for with God and feed off of that. You need to do it yourself. And God is there with open arms in order to help you heal. So I'm not searching for anybody. I do not desire anybody. And what I'm looking for, so to speak, because I'm not looking, but I'm waiting for the person that is running faster to God than I am, because that person is going to be healed. That person doesn't need me to validate them. That person doesn't need me to fix them. That person doesn't need me to help control their emotions. They're already going after God, and when their emotions get the best of them, and when they're dealing with the situation, they're not going to a human. You know, they're not going to flesh. They're going to the one that can deal with it, and that can handle it, and that can ultimately fulfill them. Because I am flawed. I'm not saying that I'm ever going to get with a person that's absolutely perfect, because I'm not perfect. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that their reliance is on God. And when I find that, we can be evenly yoked, and then I can open my life up to that person, because ultimately, for a man, a woman is supposed to be my peace, and I'm supposed to be a protector, and I'm supposed to walk in wisdom for my family. I am supposed to be the head, and this is not a control factor, you guys. This is not me wanting somebody submissive so that I can control them. That's the last thing that I want. But I don't want to not only be out there in this spiritual battle fighting, but also come home and I'm battling the person that I'm supposed to be close to. We should be able to say, hey, let's go to God. Let's get quiet. Let's pray about this. Is it going to be a perfect relationship? No. Is there going to be arguments? Yes. Is there going to be imperfections throughout it? Yes. But ultimately, I want to be able to seek God together. I'm looking for somebody that I can trust with our children. That's what I'm looking for. Because if someone is emotionally stable, they don't take care of themselves, they just feed off of every little thing. Guys, ultimately that person who is supposed to be caring for your children is going to be projecting that onto their children. This is why parents become parents and then their kids get so hurt, is because those parents weren't healed. And so they project all that hurt and their pain onto that child, and then it just repeats itself and repeats itself. Guys, I want to be the stop to all that. No, my children are not going to grow up perfect. Yes, they're going to have battles. Yes, I'm going to be there for their battles. But I want a good foundation for my children, and not two hurt people raising a child, or even one singular hurt person raising a child, and that child is going to pick up on that. And it's going to cause a lot of problems and a lot of emotional issues that can be stopped before it even started. So, yes, me personally, I would love to have somebody in my life. Absolutely. I would love to have somebody in my life. But I am not going to rush that. God is using me in ways right now in my singleness to help people as much as I can right now. And I got a lot of freedom in that. And ultimately, when I get with somebody, I want that person to be on the same wavelength. And in turn, be on this journey with me. Be a bridge and not a barrier. So in my solitude, do I get lonely physically sometimes? Every once in a while I do, because I'll go to a movie by myself. I'm perfectly content, but it would be nice to go to a movie with somebody. Absolutely. But is it going to break me that I didn't have that physical body there? No. God knows the desires of your heart, and when you go after him, he's going to put the right person in front of you, so you don't have to sit here and fret about it. You don't have to sit here and worry, oh, I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. I'm going to be the crazy cat lady. No. So there's so much freedom in God, guys, and in all these broken relationships and all these broken people getting together, guys. That's not something to be proud of. I read all the time, I'm a bad bee, I'm a strong, independent woman, or I don't need a woman, I can do it myself. All these things are red flags. I can't do it all myself. Yeah, I get it, but my reliance is on God, but I'm not doing this alone. Once you see it, and once you experience it, and once you feel the presence of God in your life constantly, nothing else matters. Someone asked me too, would you consider, a woman asked me, would you consider yourself an alpha male, a single male, a gamma male, a beta male? I'm a son of God. That's who I am. I am who God says I am. I don't need a horoscope. I don't need a sign. I don't need a label in order to know who I am, because I know who I am. And I'm fulfilled. And that's freedom with God. Everybody thinks, well, I surrender my life to God. I'm a slave to God. And it's yeah, you kind of want. You want to be. Because it's not the slavery that you know. It's not like the slavery, you're being forced to do it. You willingly do it. Because there's so much blessings and comfort and joy and peace and your identity is fulfilled. So you don't need anything else. You don't want anything else. it's not grievous. If anything, it's the exact opposite of that. So, thinking about that and contemplating on that, and I'm sitting out here in nature alone, and I was thinking about that physically alone, and I'm laughing inside because I'm like, God, I'm looking at my past, and I was like, I needed all those people. I felt like I needed them in order to survive, in order to be happy, and then they would turn against me, or something would happen, or they would lie to me, or they would steal from me, or they would beat me down, and then I was left in this broken place. And now, I'm not, and I have less people around me, guys. We definitely need to be around people. I'm not talking about being a hermit. Some might say my life is a hermit scenario, and it's not. I'm around people constantly. I'm constantly speaking the word to people. I'm not just on social media doing videos and stuff like that. I'm literally in the trenches with people constantly. I'm at my church. I do a lot of stuff for the kids, and getting more into that. I am not physically reclused, by no means. But when it comes to my personal life, when it comes to the person that I let in, that I'm going to let in eventually, I want them to be on point with God. Because ultimately, when that happens, it's going to take away all the other problems that most relationships run into. And again, I'm not saying it's going to be a perfect relationship. There will be many things and temptations and all that you have to fight, but you have two mentalities, you have two bodies that are willing to fight and go to God for it and let Him handle it instead of fighting each other. I lived that, and I'm telling you, I was miserable. I was married to that. Literally married to that. Two broken people trying to heal and looking for each other, and it was a disaster. And that scenario is a constant in our world. So go and dive deep with God, and you will be fulfilled. I guarantee you. If a person like me, who spent their life in the bar, who spent their life wrapped around people, I'm talking 15 to 20 people a day were constantly around me. I'd go pick them up because I had to be around them. Guys, if I can go out here and be peaceful and alone and so satisfied and so free, you can do it too. And it's such a blessed place to be in. And God's going to put that right person in front of me. I don't need to seek it. I don't need to fight for it. No. I'm putting myself out there by going to God, because God knows my desires. He knows what I need. He knows what I need in my life, and He knows what I don't need. And in the beginning, when I really went after God, I was having a hard time with that, because I was like, man, I'm healed now. And God's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. And it was very hard for me in the beginning. It was extremely hard for me in the beginning. And now, it's like I wouldn't want it any other way. So, you guys, you got to take time with God and get that healing. And get yourself healed up before you add another body into that. Because you're not only will you continue to hurt, but you're going to hurt that other person. And we see it a lot. Oh, well, that person was toxic. They were toxic. They were so toxic for me. They were toxic. They're all never toxic. That's why we're not in a relationship. You're toxic. By our flesh, we are all absolutely 100% toxic. It takes two to tango. It takes one hurt person to hurt another, and another hurt person to hurt another. You were not the better of the two. That person just hurt you more than you hurt them, but ultimately it took two of you to get to that point where it's like it's gone. Because if you weren't hurt and you were truly healed, you would have seen all the red flags, because God would have shown you. God would have shown you and said, hey, listen. So you allowed it. Maybe you are not the one who cheated, but it doesn't matter. You were not healed because you would have seen that person. So you are bringing toxicity into that as well. So, guys, our flesh stinks. It's terrible. It smells really bad. But when you're genuinely healed, there's so much fulfillment in it. So, no, I'm not alone. I am the exact opposite of alone. I used to be alone with all those bodies. I used to be alone, very alone in my relationship. Plural. Because I've been in quite a few of them. One of them, ended up in marriage. But it's all the same. So, I am less alone now than I've ever been. And I am happier now than I've ever been. Because it's not, the happiness is joy. So, I'm doing this video and saying this because this is the way that the world perceives things. If they're with somebody, then they're happy. But that happiness will fade away, That peace that they give you will fade away because it's all temporary. There's nothing we can do for that person. In our physical bodies, there's nothing. Spiritually, there's so much that we can do. So get out there, get healed, guys. Get with God, get alone with God. If you're sick of these broken relationships and bouncing from one owner to the other, and you just have this loneliness in front of you, and you're trying to, just fulfill it with something, then there's a problem. And the only solution to that problem is God. That's it. So I love you. I hope that you take this message and really think about it, where you are in your life, and hopefully you'll find that freedom. I pray that you'll find that freedom. I pray that you'll find that fulfillment with God, because I know that if you seek Him, I know for 100% fact that He's going to show up, because He does every time. So, love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.